here, Mike the Fucked Up podcast number 3. We're here with
Nia Dinero.
Nia Dinero.
Yes, sir.
And I'm Grady. We're here with Ayo Mike in the back.
Yo.
Kyle in the back. We here wherever we at. Don't worry about where we at, but we here now. And
Private location.
private location. And we're going to get to know Nia Dinero.
Yes. Yes, yes.
So tell me about
going
Nia
on?
Dinero. What's going on? Tell me about Nia Dinero.
Nia Dinero.
Who is she?
So, well, Nia Dinero is an artist. I'm a songwriter. I'm a brand. I'm a creative. I'm from the DMV area. Music was introduced to me honestly, since I was like 5, 7. My uncle was a concert promoter out in California. And I remember as a little girl, he used to take me to his office and I just twirling around in his big little chair. But that was, I can honestly say, like, that was the first time that I was kind of like just introduced to the work that it took. I'll say that, even at a young age, because it was a family business as well. So like I said, he did concert promotion. And 17, I started writing. I went to college. I went to Norfolk State, met a producer. He saw something in me, and then that was that.
So college, when you like first started taking it like super serious, you met the producer?
Taking it super serious.
Yeah.
17, like I said, I was always kind of like writing poetry and this and that. Never really thinking that it was music.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was weird, but and so I ended up auditioning for my college radio station at Norfolk State, and that pretty much started like the whole vibe. Out of that, I ended up receiving my on-air personality name, Nia Soul. And then little into that, like that same year, I ended up meeting a producer on campus. He went by Dreams, and he just pretty much took me under his wing, kind of helped me hone in my craft, said I had something, and that was that. We became a group. When we became a group, I was like, okay, I want to change my name. Like, I want Nia Dinero to kind of be like a superwoman. And so that's kind of like what made me do the whole first and last name. And, you know, at the time, we were going through last names, and someone asked me, like, when you think of success, what do you think of?
Yeah.
And like I said, this was like 2011, 2012. So my mindset then is not my mindset now on the idea of what success is and so on and so forth. But at that time, they were like, when you think of success, what do you think of? I was like, money. And dinero. Like, someone just said dinero, we just went with that. But ultimately now, the whole idea of just Nia Dinero as a whole is just knowing your worth in every aspect, both in the craft, outside of the craft, in front, you know what I'm saying, in front of the camera, behind the camera, when it comes down just to your quality, you know, what you're putting out, your content, your message, just everything. And yeah.
So, how is it being a female in this music industry shit, and like maneuvering through, you know, because you know it's tough for women in any industry. Mm-hmm. So how do you maneuver through the harsh, if it's harsh for you, the music industry as a woman?
You know, like we were talking about earlier, I think just truly understanding who you are and knowing your worth is key. It's just key. I feel like that allows you to step into, you know, to sit at any table and be able to put something on the table. Like, I feel like if you go to any table with nothing, you're giving people the opportunity to tell you who you're going to be, to tell you what you're going to think, to tell you, you understand what I'm saying? And I feel like even more so now, we're just in a time to where no one really has time to tell you how to be the best at what you do. You know, you have to really cultivate all the tools and know what you want to do and have the vision yourself to be able to say, okay, I'm going to put this up on my own YouTube. I'm going to, you know, put together my own videos. I'm going to put together my own content. I'm going to connect with other dope people and do it myself. You see what I'm saying? And so as a female artist, I feel like, especially getting into the game in 2011, 2012, that was at a time where Nicki was out, Drake was out, like so many big artists were out, and the industry was so different to where they weren't really looking at anyone else if you weren't already there, you know what I'm saying? And you know, right now I feel like for a female artist, it's just important even more so now to truly have a vision for yourself and to know who you are. And yeah, Yeah, I mean, I just feel like for female artists, it's just, you got to create your own path. You got to create your own lane. Because there's so many narratives out there for a female artist that kind of look the same, sound the same, that you have to have that confidence and that vision to really say, okay, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And I got to step out enough and kill it enough to be able to stand out and do your thing in confidence.
So let's talk about this confidence, right? Because you may have some young women, little girls watching this and be inspired by you. You know, and I feel like a lot of times, like a lot of people like we look up to as far as artists or whatever the fuck they're doing, they don't really give us the breakdown on how to maneuver through these, you know, industries, or like you say, confidence, or, you know, knowing your worth. So what you think exactly goes into knowing your worth? Like what attributes you have to have, like, you know what I'm saying, like the sensitivity, you know what I'm saying, like what attributes, like that young women that's watching, let them know what they have to do, or who they have, or what they have to develop to be in any room they want to be.
Right. So I will say, first off, it doesn't come overnight. Confidence, knowing your worth, all that stuff. It happens over time. It's like any muscle, you have to build on it. You have to affirm it to yourself. You have to exercise it. You have to tell yourself. You have to be around like-minded people that are going to encourage you. You know, pour into your vision. And so I'll say that, you know, where I am now and just in my confidence and knowing who I am came with a lot of years and time of really trying to figure it out and figure out, you know, my why in this. And not just in music, not just as a creative, but just in my life, period. You see what I'm saying? And giving myself the space to figure that out. And so I say to anybody, you have to give yourself time to go through the process. Like, you have to really, really understand it is a process, both mentally, emotionally, in a lot of cases spiritually, as well as the creative. I feel like it's just really, really hard, especially now. We talk a lot about the third wall, the fourth wall, all that. And I feel like, you know, back in 2011, 2012, yada, 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 back where we had certain platforms that allowed us to kind of have this mystery when it came down to the artists. You didn't get to see them deal with mental, emotional health or the hardships. You just got to see them, their highlights.
Right.
You just saw them on the radio shows and the TV and everything. So you just always thought it was just like this great glitz and glamour and I just want to be a star. Right. You know what I mean? And so I feel like now we're just, you know, with YouTube and so many platforms to just be open and authentic, I feel like it's even more so now. You have to be able to have the dynamics and be open with the process of figuring out who you are and letting people kind of like, not giving all of yourself, but being open to showing people your journey, being open with showing people your process, not just showing the highlights, but letting them know, like, look, like, I'm going to school and I'm pursuing this, or I got a side hustle serving in the city and I'm going to the studio right after, or vice versa. So I just tell anyone, like, if this is what you want to do or whatever you want to do, you know, give yourself the grace to figure out who you are in the process. Don't just think grind, and don't just think from, you know, the vision. Right. You know, the vision also comes with a lot of different obstacles and paths, and you want to give yourself the space to experience everything along the journey. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, what is your favorite song out of all the songs you made? Yeah.
Out of all the songs
and why?
I made, and why? I'll say one of my favorite songs that I have made so far would probably be For Fun.
So the song called For Fun?
The song was called For Fun. And the reason why...
Sorry, let me cut you off. Where can I listen to it?
You can listen to it on all major digital platforms. Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, YouTube, everything. And I'll say For Fun because For Fun, I made it in the pandemic. I made it during the pandemic. I had this whole project called Gray Area that I was sitting on, honestly. Yeah. I started making it when I lived in Atlanta in 2017, so not 2018. So I was working on it for like a year and some change, while personally going through one of the hardest just seasons of my life. You know what I mean? just in transition, and like I said, just going through, you know, figuring out who I was and just everything, personally and professionally. And so I was still making this project. And so then I was about to put it out, and then the pandemic hit. And, you know, just during that time for the creative, we just all went through a space where it was like, okay, it's the pandemic, people are dying, people this, like, I just don't feel right making it about me and throwing a project out and this and that. So I sat on it. And then after like a couple of months, I started seeing more creatives just kind of getting out there and saying, no, like, if you're a creative, this is not the time to not pour your gift out there. This is the time to get out there, because this is what we do to help. To help. This is what we do.
Might get us through the pandemic.
Yeah,
like, through the pandemic. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, fine. So I ended up, I went to a producer that I always worked with, and it just so happened at that time he was busy.
That's Dreams, right?
No. This was in. So I went. I'm sorry, I didn't say this. So 2015, I went solo.
Okay.
So from 2015 to now, it's just been me, right? So here we are, fast forward, pandemic. So I went to a producer that I always work with, and he was busy, but he referred me to someone else. So I was nervous because I'm like, okay, you know, as an artist, you build a relationship with a producer, an engineer. I'm like, what? But I trusted him. He's like, nah, like, I really think for this song, you should work with him. So I worked with him. For Fun was the first song that we did. The first session that I had with him, I drove down to Virginia Beach, to Chesapeake, down to Hampton Roads. And I already had this vision, this concept. I was like, I want to work on this EP. I don't know what it's going to be, but I just know I want it to be 3 songs, and I want it to be like in and out, but I want it to be super, super dope. Mm-hmm. And we came up with the whole EP. We did the whole EP that day, which is the 3 songs. For Fun was the first song. And the reason why that song is important to me was because, like I said, it was just at a time where I was just coming out of just that space of figuring out where the creative lies, you know what I'm saying, lies in the pandemic. And it was the first song like that from me. You know what I mean? I guess you can say that was kind of like the beginning of me stepping into my sound.
So For Fun was the beginning.
Like For Fun was the beginning of like where people were like, this is your sound. Like,
even during the pandemic. That's
even
tough.
During the pandemic.
That's tough. So you can hear all that going to For Fun.
Just all that into For Fun. Because also just like content wise, I was just talking about in the dopest way possible. I was just pretty much saying like how in this process, like, I had to give up, you know, friends, you know, people just had, you know, like, I was just in transition. Like, I was working a 9 to 5. I was doing this and doing that, but at the same time, knowing that I was chosen for this. You know what I mean? I say all that in the song, like, just talking about how I now feel like I'm chosen for this. You know, in order to do this, I had to sacrifice, and friends had to leave, and vice versa, and this and that. So it's a wave, and it's well received. Like, people really, really like that track.
That's cool. So For Fun on all the platforms and all that shit.
Just For Now, it's the EP. Just For Now.
Nia Dinero. But we talked about the red lip shit. I want to know about that. And people actually told me about the red lip and all that. You kind of gave me a little taste of it, but I want to know what that's about.
So the red lip started. So my tagline is sophistication, quality, and edge. Right?
Okay.
And when I first started working on my logo, so my logo is like a red lip. Everyone always thinks that it's a mock-up of my own lips, but it's not. But when I went to the graphic designer at the time, I just told him, I was like, okay, I need something that says sophistication, quality, and edge. And I knew I wanted my main color to be red. Red is one of my favorite colors. It's confident, it's clean, it's classic, it's bold. And believe it or not, red, especially for Black women, red was always kind of looked at as a color of like danger, promiscuous, you stay away from red. You know what I mean? It kind of had like these negative vibes. Yeah. And, you know, I pretty much wanted to spin all that. And so...
You want to put your own narrative on
the own narrative. You know what I mean? So for me, like I said, it's clean, it's classic, it's, you know, it stands out, it pops out. When I put on my red lip, I feel, I can have a bad day, but when I put on that red lip, I feel good. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk in with some energy, and it's going to be a vibe. So That's how the red legs get play.
So, in 3 words,
Mm-hmm.
how would you describe Nia Dinero? In 3 words.
How would I describe Nia Dinero?
Yeah.
Nia Dinero is dynamic, very dynamic. Also creative. And I say that because you really don't know what I'm gonna do. It could be music, it could be helping someone shoot a movie, it could be editing, it could be a lot of things. I could be an actress tomorrow. Like it just doesn't matter. So I'll say dynamic, creative, and down to earth. Down to earth. Yeah.
So there's 3 things that describe you. So when I go on iTunes and I listen for fun, I should already hear these things.
When you listen to For Fun, you're gonna hear dynamics.
Your creativity in it.
You're gonna hear creativity.
And being humble, right?
And you're gonna hear that I'm down to earth, because when you listen to it, you're gonna be like, okay, like she working in 9 to 5. She's talking about her benefits. She's talking about how she's trying to manifest.
Yeah.
She talking about, and then you're gonna hear the dynamics as it's like, okay, as a female artist, is she gonna rap? Is she gonna sing? Like, what's her voice like? Does she have vocal? Like, where is it going? You're gonna hear a little bit of that, a little bit of everything, and then creatively, like I feel like it's just a fresh sound. It's just a fresh sound of where you're gonna be like, okay, I can tell like she's not trying to be like anyone else. Like I can tell like she actually tapped into her creative juices to put out whatever she's gonna put out. That's what I would think. That's what I hope.
So where can we find Nia Dinero on Instagram, like all your socials, and where can we find your music?
So you can find everything on niadinero.com, NIADINERO.com. Everything's on there, but Instagram, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Actually, I didn't talk about this, but so I was recently hacked. April 3rd, I was hacked.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying this on Instagram, I was hacked on Instagram. And the reason why I'm saying this is because my Instagram used to be Nia Dinero, NIADINERO, but I had to change it because I had to get a new account to Dinero.Nia.
Dinero.Nia.
So it's D-I-N on Instagram. So it's DINERO.NIA. So that's what we're at.
Cool. So now y'all got an Instagram, they got her music, check out For Fun. If
Yes.
you want to know who Nia Dinero is, those 3 characteristics are dynamic, creative, and down to earth. You can get that on For Fun on all the platforms. You know, there it is. It was nice to meet you.
It was definitely nice to meet you.
Mic the fuck up. See y'all, man.